You are watching The Story. Every Monday, we bring you a deep dive into the fascinating lives of incredible people. How Tony Hawk became the richest skater in the world. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Hello Aluxers, and welcome to another original video brought to you by Alux.com. He's been called the Michael Jordan of the skater world, and no matter what your opinion is of skateboarding, Tony Hawk's talent and influence can't be denied. When listing sports that are most lucrative for top athletes, skateboarding usually isn't even in the conversation. But Tony Hawk has changed the game by earning tens of millions of dollars off the strength of his talent and his passion. We're going to tell you the story today of how Tony Hawk defied the odds and became the richest skater in the world. But first, a little background. Who is Tony Hawk? Anthony Hawk is primarily known for being one of the top skateboarders in the world. He's won more than 70 skateboarding contests, including gold medals at the X Games in 1995 and 1997. Even though he technically retired in 1999, he's still heavily involved in the skating world through giving demonstrations, devising new tricks, and mentoring young skateboarders like snowboarding Olympian Shaun White. Also, through the Tony Hawk Foundation, which he established in 2001, he's worked to build more than 600 public skateboarding parks across America to help with the emergence of the sport. Tony has accomplished just about everything he set out to do in the sport of skateboarding, but it hasn't exactly been a smooth ride. Let's go back to the start of this story to see where it all begins. The beginning. Hawk began skating at the age of 9 as an outlet for his excessive energy and creative spirit. His parents encouraged him in what they thought would be just a hobby, but at 11 years old, he began entering competitions and started developing a reputation for being creative and daring. At the age of 14, he signed his first contract with the Powell Peralta professional team. Just 2 years later, he was considered by many in the skater community to be the best competitive skateboarder in the world. But at this point in time, skateboarding was far from the mainstream, and Hawk's name wasn't well known outside of that circle for several years after he was already on the top of his game. But Hawk had bigger dreams than just winning a few skateboarding competitions. The vision. From a young age, Tony's vision was to bring skateboarding into the mainstream, so more people would become engaged in the sport, and it would then be seen as something as legitimate as any other sport children in particular choose to be involved in. Tony felt that skateboarding as a whole didn't get the respect it deserved, and that skateboarders were never truly considered athletes. He set out to change this widespread perception. For Tony, it was never about the money, but following his passion and supporting the sport that he believed in. Early success. Tony had become a star among his skateboarding peers, and he was known in those circles all around the world. As a young teenager, he was making about $100,000 a year, and in his later teens, he was bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year due to his competition wins and his primary sponsorship deal with Powell Peralta Skateboards. He was making more money than his teachers and everyone else at school, and even bought his first home when he was 17 years old, and a second one a couple of years later. In the late 1980s, he traveled around the world giving skating demos and taking part in competitions. Life was good, and Tony couldn't believe his good fortunes, but they wouldn't last. The struggle. Hawk has said that his biggest mistake in his early career was believing the success would be endless. He said, "We approached our spending as if it was never going to end, and it ended very quickly." By the early 90s, skateboarding was widely regarded as the hobby of slackers and troublemakers. Skate parks were closing down in large numbers because they couldn't afford the insurance, and opportunities for Hawk dried up quickly. He found himself with little income, 2 mortgages, and a son on the way. He sold one of his houses, and at the time, he had to get by on just $5 a day. Others he'd competed with moved on to sensible careers, but Tony never abandoned his passion. Even though every sign pointed to the popularity of skateboarding declining, Hawk refinanced his home and launched his own skateboard company called Birdhouse Projects in 1992. For the first several years, it seemed like his critics were right. His shop wasn't making any money, and his entire future hung in the balance. But his unexpected rise to fame was actually just around the corner. A hard lesson. In 1995, ESPN launched an extreme sports competition called the X Games. Hawk was 27 and felt like this would be a great opportunity to push skateboarding toward the mainstream. He won gold at the 1995 and 97 games. Due to this exposure, he began getting calls for endorsement deals again. After having struggled financially for years, he was signing on to everything. In the process, he made some bad deals and signed his rights away to several companies. It was only later he realized this actually diminished his brand, as his name was attached to low-quality products that he didn't want to be associated with. There was even Tony Hawk toilet paper with his name on it. When he confronted these companies, he found out he had no say in how his name would be used. He would later say he had to nearly destroy his brand in order to learn its value. That was a hard lesson for him to learn, but it served him well as he achieved even greater fame. The win. With a resurgence in the popularity of skateboarding and Hawk's increased name recognition, Birdhouse became one of the biggest and most successful skate companies in the world. On top of this, 1999 became a pivotal year for Hawk. First, he was approached by Activision with a pitch to create the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater video game. This would end up being the most financially profitable deal of his life. He had learned from his earlier mistakes with contracts. He was offered $500,000 up front for the rights to his name and image, but he turned this down and instead insisted on a royalty deal and final approval of all elements of the game. Sales of the game soared when that same year he became the first skateboarder to ever land a 900, a move that involves rotating 900 degrees or 2.5 turns in midair. This played out live on national TV as a part of the 1999 X Games. The combination of this incredible feat and the success of his video game pushed him into the mainstream spotlight, and he soon became a household name at the age of 31. Outcome. By 2015, a total of 19 video games had been released as part of the Tony Hawk video game series. It's one of the most popular game franchises in history, with sales surpassing $1.4 billion. Largely thanks to him insisting on a royalty deal, Hawk has accumulated an estimated net worth of $140 million. His increased wealth also enabled him to buy out some of his older contracts, so his name would no longer appear on inferior products. He officially retired after the 1999 X Games, but he continues to put on demos and exhibitions all around the world. Birdhouse was established nearly 30 years ago and is more successful than ever. His branded products continue to sell in the hundreds of millions. He also owns a skate clothing company called Hawk Clothing. He's become the most recognizable action sports figure in the world, and thanks to all of these revenue streams, he's now the richest skater in the world. The lesson. Hawk's story teaches us to persevere and follow our passions through the highest highs and even the lowest lows. It may not always be pretty and others might not understand, but if you're driven, focused, ambitious, and strategic, you can experience incredible success. Hawk persisted in starting his own business even when many people around him told him it was crazy to do so, and it paid off big time. You might want to check out the book, How to Start and Succeed in Your Own Business. It's written by entrepreneur and self-development author Brian Tracy. Tracy not only built a multi-million-dollar company in less than 4 years, but also has worked with over 100 companies as a consultant to increase their success. This book sells for over $40, but save your money. Just go to Alux.com/freebook and sign up. If it's your first time, you'll get the audiobook version for free, thanks to our partnership with Audible. The quote. While researching his story, we came across this inspiring quote from Tony Hawk we'd like to share with you, and it goes like this. Believe in yourself and create new challenges no matter how far you get. Even if you think you earned it all or you're considered the best in the world, keep challenging yourself, because you're only as good as your last trick in the public's eye. But only do it because you love it. Don't do it because you think it's your ticket to fame or fortune. If that's the motivation and you reach any of those goals, you're not going to keep that passion. Question. Now that we are wrapping up this story, we'd like to know, do you think skateboarding is generally accepted as a sport now, or is there still some work to do? Let us know what you think in the comments. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, here's that bonus you're waiting for. The first skateboard Tony ever used was a fiberglass skateboard called a banana board. His brother gave it to him when he was 9 years old, and he began using it all the time. His brother said it wasn't like he stepped on it and suddenly angels were singing. He just kind of slowly got good at it. Today, that skateboard is on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.